I'm Kavita Channe, and we're in Dr. Brett Bolton's office with Josh Engoren, who is our patient advisor here at Dr. Bolton's office. So Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to be a part of the hair transplant industry.
Okay. I grew up in Long Island, New York. I lived there for the first 21 years of my life. I came to Florida in 1984, and I always had an interest in hair loss because everybody in my family's bald.
Oh, okay.
On both sides.
Okay.
And we're talking extremely bald, and in our business we call it like class 7.
Okay.
The most advanced level of hair loss that there is.
Wow.
That would be their categories. So if you go to our website, you can see a little bit of my family history. You'll see one day at the house for Thanksgiving. You're going to see a lot of bald men. I had that interest at a young age. How am I going to avoid following in their footsteps?
Right.
I don't want to be bald like all the men in my family because it really doesn't do a lot for their looks.
We don't blame you.
So thankfully I did my research, I
Right.
educated myself, and I realized that you had to be very careful on who does your procedure. Because of my sensitivity, I saw all the guys who wore the wigs, I saw the guys who had the plugs, I saw the guys who had the bad hair transplants, the comb overs.
That didn't scare you?
I vowed that would never be me.
Okay.
So how do you avoid that happen to you? You
Yeah.
research, you do your due diligence.
So how many procedures did you have?
Well, I started out when Dr. Bolton was literally still probably in diapers. Dr. Bolton's so young.
Yes.
But, he's one of a kind. He's been doing this 14 years, even though he's only 40 years old. He's had the procedure himself. And I always liked the fact that wherever I went to research this, I would look at the people who I was talking to. If I saw they had a wig on or a bad hair transplant or a comb over, to me, they lost credibility.
That is so important, guys. That is so important. If they don't have a great hair transplant, why would you want to go to them?
Right.
So back to your procedures. How many did you have?
I've done over the years 4 times.
4 times?
Yeah.
Okay, and so now you having the procedure and you working for all these other doctors, what brought you to Dr. Bolton?
Well, I used to compete against Dr. Bolton.
Okay.
Because I worked for one of the largest hair restoration practices in the United States.
We won't name names, but...
And, they were great at advertising, and I got great work for them.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed in my office here in Dr. Bolton's area was that if anyone went to him and then they came to me, I could never get them to go with us.
Ah.
And it really piqued my interest because usually it was the opposite way, that I felt that we were better than everybody else in the area, except Dr. Bolton was a real challenging doctor for me to overcome because he does things differently.
Okay.
And if you're an educated consumer, what does he do differently? Well, number one, the guarantee is 1 surgery a day. Most of the big operations, the big chains that are spending
multiple, right?
$1 million a month on advertising, the only way they're going to make their money back is to set it up a little bit more like a factory.
Right.
You could be one of 10 surgeries for the day.
But here, you're getting that personal attention and the time.
Right. And
Okay.
I can assure you, you could go to those places, you could get some good work, but there's going to be people falling through the cracks.
Right.
There's no way around it. When you got to have 20 employees working for you cutting grass as opposed to 3, you have more consistent quality here than you have at those places. There's no taking the day off here. There's total accountability. When you come back in 6 months, there's nobody shrugging their shoulders trying to figure out why you didn't get your results.